What is going on, everyone? Trust the buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail and title of this video, in today's video, we're going to be talking about Baylor guard VJ Edgecombe. VJ Edgecombe has been mocked to us for so long. I don't even know. I can't even make up how long he's been. I think since the draft lottery, he's been mocked up to us. And yes, I just recorded my Ace Bailey video, but he's been mocked to us for so long, and I can see why. It's a very, very easy fit. I think that VJ Edgecombe probably has the best fit out of anybody in the top four. You could argue Khan, just because of the fact that he does provide you like these certain avenues, like away, like off the ball from LaMelo, and then obviously he can run the offense. I think in the second unit and have guys like Trey Mann and even Nick Smith Jr. be kind of like playing off of him, which, you know, technically he would be like a what is it, like whatever Ben Simmons was for the Sixers. I can't think of the name right now, but basically a point forward. Jeez, I couldn't even think. But Khan could be kind of a point forward. But VJ is kind of a perfect fit in a different way, and that is just kind of being the wedge between LaMelo and Brandon, but providing what we want Josh Green to provide, however, at a much, much higher level. I think, you know, if you like the fit of Josh Green, then you will love VJ Edgecombe, because I think he can do what Josh Green does right now. I think the only thing VJ obviously would be missing is that he's 19 years old, or yeah, he's 19, about to turn 20 years old. So he doesn't have like the league experience, and honestly, he didn't make it to a finals run like Josh Green did. But still, based off pure ability, I think he can do a lot of what Josh Green does now, except maybe the 3-point shot, which that's kind of the biggest question about VJ's game. That he shot 34%. He shot much better in league play or in conference play, but at the same time, it's just like, can you believe it? And I know I'm Googling, but I try to have these a little more laid back. And I think that Con one, I didn't even move around the screen. So this one, I'm going to be talking a little more. But with VJ Edgecombe, it's just a matter of, you know, will that 3-point shot hit? And as I mentioned, in conference play, he did shoot like much better, shooting 39% on basically 5 attempts from 3. It looked a lot better. I think that it took him a while to really get his bearings. But one thing I'll say about VJ, and I really like about him, because these are the guys I typically like. Like any draft, you can expect me to like a guy like VJ. Any draft, like this is the type of player. These are like my preference of players. And with VJ, you can see that, you know, he struggled a little bit, didn't even shoot well the first 2 games, and then, you know, he has a couple of bad games here against St. John's. He had a bad game here against New Orleans. He only played 11 minutes, but still, he started off rough, and then it kind of just all came together like at this point. So it was like first 12, 11 games, he struggled. And once they kind of really got going, and they kind of got their lineup situated, he looked like a different player. But one thing I like about him is that no matter what happened offensively, his defense still showed up. Whether that's on tape, box score, doesn't matter. Like this game, he scored 4 points, but he had 7 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks. This game, he had 11, but he had 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Here, in a game against, I guess it's Tarleton State, but still, 17, 5, 2, 4, and 3. That's crazy. And if we want to look at let's look at like a bigger game. He always just was doing something. This one, I'll even use this one against Arizona where they lost at home. He didn't do anything else, but he scored 24 points. So it's just like he's always doing something. He didn't shoot well from 3 that game, but still, he's always just doing something. I think that's the kind of player the Charlotte Hornets need. Because right now, I have my offensive faith in LaMelo and in Brandon Miller. There's no one I think that I would trust to be a point of attack defender and just create defensive highlights, except VJ Edgecombe. And I think that, you know, I think Brandon Miller is serviceable. LaMelo Ball's getting better, because I think it's just attentive to detail. But I always say, if you're running my offense, I don't necessarily need you to be this lockdown defender. And then Miles Bridges, I think, is a very underrated defender. For him, it's just like the off-ball stuff. I think you can kind of see him get a little lax on the defensive end. And also just in certain situations, like when you don't see LaMelo, you don't see Brandon, he's kind of more like, okay, this is my time to score. And I mean, that's whatever. I think that for where the Charlotte Hornets are trying to go as of right now, I think you can live with that. But that's something that always has bothered me about Miles, is that I just see he can be such a good defender. And even though I do believe he's underrated, I think there's another level there. It's just he hasn't been able to reach it yet. But I don't think that's by ability. I think that's just like mental. I think he's just, become this more offensive-minded player instead of this like Swiss Army knife, which he really can be. Underrated passer, underrated rebounder, underrated defender, like all of that. But I digress. I think having him and VJ just kind of running around and creating, havoc on defense, I think will be huge. And that's not typically how we use Miles Bridges, but considering you have another guy who I think exceeds, Josh Green, I think that would be really cool to have, and it kind of fits. I know Miles Bridges isn't your typical 4, but I do believe that having another guy like VJ just running around at 6'4" with his 6'7" wingspan, I think that's good, and I think that you're able to throw a lot of different bodies at opposing teams, because even though I think that Charles Lee has done a great job at times when you think it's the worst roster, the worst lineup ever, he's able to get something out of it as far as like defense. I think that VJ, with our main starting guys, I think that we can really, really make some noise defensively, even though we may not have your typical lockdown defensive type players. And that to me, and I'm only using like the finals just because, those are the top 2 teams right now. But it reminds me of how we could possibly be like the Pacers, where those guys didn't come into the league, these solid defenders, these great defenders. Like Ben Shepherd is a guy that I see him shade a lot. And Ben Shepherd didn't, he came out as he could be a 3-and-D guy, but that's not really like what he was. He was just a more 3 guy. And I think that just opened up a lot. So we don't necessarily need the defenders to become this great defensive team. However, I think it all starts with one. So you think about the Pacers with Nembhard, you think about OKC with Dort and Caruso. I think that, VJ could be the one, and then everybody else kind of around it. It's just a matter of when you want to take that pick. That's really what it comes down to. If you think about Lou Dort, if you think about Caruso, if you think about Nembhard, like all those guys were second. I think 2 of them were undrafted. One of them was a 2nd-round pick. That the defense got them on the floor, and then they eventually upgraded their offensive ability. And then like if you even look at Caruso, I think that he just causes so much he's just so wild on defense. It's just always disrupting plays that he doesn't necessarily need to become this really, really great 3-point shooter, even though, he kind of is, good enough. So do you want to take that kind of player at 4 when you see that it can be taken, a lot of people can do it or have been able to do it with, lesser picks or even undrafted. And the thing is, my point against that is I think VJ can be more than that. I think that's just what he is right now. And that's where the lure is for VJ, is that we're watching these finals and we're saying, oh, well, they have all these bodies. But look, these guys, I think Chet is the highest pick out of both teams. And while true, it's just that with VJ, I think that there's another level to his game that is untapped. I think the 3-point shot can eventually fall. What I don't like about it is that you do have to do like a little nitpicking to get the percentages that look favorable. However, when you think about kind of like a point in the season, I don't even know what that point is, but let's just start here because it's like a little halfway through and we'll go to the end. His 3-point shooting looked better than 34%, but it's just like, is that reliable to like, it's 36%. I know that's not much better, but it would improve the Hornets 3-point percentage. But still, I think that I don't know, it's exciting. VJ offers a lot of exciting stuff, especially on the defensive end, but he also, is able to provide, and I think what separates him from these other guys we've been talking about in this video is that he has that offense ability to where he doesn't have to just be a 3-and-D guy. While his handle is not the tightest in the world, he's still able to get to the rim at an alarming rate, and I think he is able to generate a lot of free throws. He's able to take on a lot of contact and convert. There's just so much that he does that we don't do as a team. And I've said the similar thing about Ace Bailey because I said that it's like more on paper. He gives you size, he gives you shooting or scoring, however you want to put it. He gives you weak side rim protection. He gives you just creativity on the offensive end. There's things that he gives, but it's all on paper. I think with VJ, it's all on film. Like, I've seen him do it. This is what he does night in and night out. As opposed with Ace, it's there. I can see it. There's games where he does it, but that's not really who he is yet. With VJ, you see like the bare minimum, and you're just in wow about it because of the fact that at worst, this guy's going to be a really solid defender at the NBA level. The only thing I have other considerations about when it comes to what he already does well and will that translate to the league is his athleticism. He obviously was the most athletic person on the floor almost every night. Is just that, will that transfer to the league? Because everybody's stronger, everybody's faster, everybody's quicker, everybody's taller. It's a whole different league, literally. So it's just, will that go with him? Because if it doesn't, you can take away the defense. You can take away his ability to get to the rim. Because he doesn't play with this. I think that one thing he falters is he doesn't have this pace in terms of like, I think even Ace. Let's just use Ace because I don't want to. I use Luka in another conversation, which I just use Luka because he's the best at it. But still, we'll just use Ace. I think Ace is still like able to lull the defender to sleep a little bit, even though he doesn't have the best handle. He's able to kind of play at like some type of pace where he's able to slow down, speed up, and then find his shot. VJ is 110% all the time. And so if that athleticism either goes or he's unable to have it transfer to the league in terms of just like it's just not good enough, that goes everything about his game because it's not like he's some great shooter. And it's not like he has like the finesse of these other guys or even show that he could eventually have finesse like these other guys. I think he does. Like, don't get me wrong. If he had no finesse, he wouldn't be looked at as like a top. Some people even say top 3 prospect. But it's just not enough to make you believe that, all right, if his athleticism is just not what we thought it would be, there's still room for him in his league. And that's just kind of the biggest thing is that his athleticism is by far his best trait. If something were to happen to that, then what? And I think that's something you have to look at. But if it pops off, if he's able even to adjust, he still can be a really, really good player, definitely worthy of the 4th overall pick. So, I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. I love VJ's game. He's definitely like my type of player. I'm not sold on him yet, only simply because I think where the Hornets are now, we need to score. And as good as I think he could be defensively, as good of a player I believe he can be in the future, right now I think we struggle so mightily with, in those LaMelo Ball-less minutes that it just has me considering, like, are we prioritizing a guy that could be a really solid defender? I think almost no matter what in this league, are we? I don't know. I still don't know. Like, I'm still battling that in my head. But as I've always said with everybody, if you tell me you want this guy, I can't say anything right now just because of the fact that I'm torn. I'm literally tracking who I want every day because my mind keeps changing. Just because the league this pick is just so important for the Hornets. You got to hit. And I don't think that there's a place where you can. And by hit, I just mean he has to be a good player that, you highly consider bringing back for a second contract. I think that's literally it. He doesn't have to be LaMelo Ball. He doesn't really necessarily have to be Brandon Miller. He could be Miles Bridges, obviously without all the off-the-court stuff, and then you're willing to bring him back for a second contract. I think that he can literally just be that. He doesn't have to be this all-star, all-NBA type player. But still, we've seen that's hard to come back for the Hornets. So, without I guess there being some off-the-court issues or additional stuff or fit or whatever. So, I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. I like VJ's game. I think he offers a lot. So, yeah, I think that he's just going to be a very good player. I think he has the potential to be a very good player in this league. I just don't know if the athleticism transfers. And that's like my only worry part. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.